The camera.
His use of language, his use of words.
Celebrate the life and work
He had capacity to make every person feel precious.
of the man behind it,
Unlike any person I've ever met.
Anthony Minghella.
Blessings on your head.
Imagine, tomorrow, 10:35 on BBC One.
This is BBC One in the Northwest. Now the BBC News with Hugh Edwards and Annabelle Tiffin at 10 o'clock.
The age of cheap food is over. Gordon Brown warns that households need to waste less. Britain throws away 4 million tonnes of food every year. Mr. Brown says wasting less will help household finances. At the G8 summit, world leaders discuss the rising cost of food and declare that saving food is as important as saving energy.
It's right to remind people that about £8 a week is wasted in our food consumption and that we could do better at home.
But rising food prices are now being blamed on the growing use of biofuels. We'll have all the details. Also tonight, what future for the Church of England after tonight's defining vote on allowing women bishops? 34 years in jail for the former SAS soldier who tried to overthrow an African government. Is knife crime out of control? We assess the real picture after the latest teenage death. And we meet Britain's young diving star. He's just 14 and he's bound for Beijing.
And in the Northwest, find her killer. Lucy's family plead for information on what would have been her 25th birthday. And Liverpool's answer to the credit crunch? Go to the council for your mortgage.
Good evening. The era of cheap food is over, and we're all going to have to think hard about the amount of food we waste. That was the message from the Prime Minister, Gordon Brown, who's in Japan, attending the summit of the world's richest countries, the G8. The leaders are considering the rising cost of food around the world and why it's happening. Our political editor, Nick Robinson, who's travelling with Mr. Brown, sent this report from the summit.
It was a global economic crisis which persuaded the world's richest nations to form its most powerful club. Today, the G8 leaders meet again here in the Japanese mountains, faced by another economic crisis, trying to convince the world and themselves that they're not powerless in the face of it. A toast to prosperity, something the G8 used to be able to take for granted. Not anymore. It's easy for him to look relaxed. He won't be around for much longer. It's those who want to make sure they are who are looking worried. No longer can world leaders set interest or exchange rates. They're focused now on soaring oil and food prices. On the menu here, yet another push for a world trade deal and yet another promise of more help for Africa to grow more food, helping Africans and, it's hoped, consumers at home.
We've got to have a global solution to what's a global problem. And of course it's right to remind people that about £8 a week is wasted in our food consumption and that we could do better at home as well. But these are all changes that I think could make for cheaper food in the long run.
What on earth, you may wonder, is the Prime Minister doing talking about waste food at a G8 summit? Well, the answer is clear. His message is that the price of food depends on people as well as government. If demand for food is too high, if too much is wasted, the price is just as sure to go up as if there's too little supply, too little grown in the fields. To deal with that problem, the G8 discussed with visiting African leaders today what aid it could give to ensure the continent doubled its food production. Aid needed more than ever, according to the World Bank.
Of the food and fuel combination, which is a double jeopardy that's put people in a danger zone. You know, we've done on-the-ground assessments of over 50 countries, and you know, we believe that you could have another 100 million people pushed back into poverty.
What, though, of that other African tragedy, Zimbabwe? Some of the continent's leaders are still reluctant to tell Mugabe to go. So the G8 will talk tough and may threaten more sanctions. The test of this summit is, of course, not the noise it makes, but its long-term impact. A thought, perhaps, for world leaders as they headed off for an 8-course banquet, caviar and champagne. Nick Robinson, BBC News, at the G8 summit, Hokkaido in Japan.
Well, one of the principal reasons that global food prices have risen is the increasing use of biofuels. As more land is devoted to growing fuel crops, less is available for food production. Just 5 years ago, biofuels were seen as the new greener substitute to run cars, but a major government review published today suggests that some biofuels could be worse for the environment than petrol. Our environment correspondent David Shukman is here with me with more details. David.
Hugh, thank you. Biofuels were once a great green hope, but tonight ministers are backing down. The rush to grow crops to power our cars seems to have a darker side. Critics say the government's been slow to wake up to this, but we're now seeing the first brakes applied to a key aspect of the green revolution. America's vast cornfields, one of the world's biggest sources of food.